Hey everyone, Jeremy here, and today I'm going to be talking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. First of all, I want to just go ahead and say it from the start that this movie was amazing. I mean, just the animation alone. I mean, it's peak animation in my opinion, and when it comes to the animation, there's not really any other film as good as these, Spider-Verse movies has been. And another thing I like about this movie is that when it comes to, different universes in which they show it, each universe has, their own unique art style. And you can see that a little bit when they go into, Gwen's universe. And that's another thing I like, about this movie was that in the beginning we see more of Gwen Stacy. We see more of, her background, what's going on with her in her life, and we actually see that in the beginning of the movie for some good amount of time before we actually see Miles in it. I like that we got to see some more, screen time for Gwen Stacy and showing her background. And I just think that was like a good idea going forward because, yeah, this movie's also about Miles and, him becoming Spider-Man, but it's also about a whole bunch of other Spider-Mans and, their story, their unique story, their background, what's happened to them. And you really get that sense in this movie. And it's called Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So this isn't just about, one Spider-Man. This is about all of them and what they all have to go through. And if you're a Spider-Man fan, you will for sure love this movie. Seeing all these references that we've seen across the years of just watching Spider-Man from cartoons, movies, etc., all that stuff. Now we talked about the animation. Now I want to talk about the, villains of the movie. So there's kind of like a real villain, and then there's kind of like I guess you can call him a villain, but he's a hero. Is Miguel 2099 Spider-Man. He is so good in this movie, and he's very menacing, and you can tell there's something different about him just from the suit itself. This is kind of a different Spider-Man. I know we've seen a whole bunch of different Spider-Mans in this movie from different universes, and even with their whole organization of Spider-Mans, they're all different, but you can tell from the start that Miguel's Spider-Man is just so much more serious. He's more brooding, he's more menacing, and we see it in the movie and we understand why, because he lost his family, and then he tries to go to another universe where his family is still alive, and that ends up being bad and destroys that whole universe. And that's why he is how he is. He created this whole organization, and now he's just more about saving across the universe and stuff like that. So now we know why he's more of a serious Spider-Man and not like how Spider-Man's supposed to be, making funny comments and being just kind of like positive and stuff like that. And what's funny is that they actually mention that in the movie where they show where Peter Parker actually says it, which is Miles' mentor, that Peter Parker. He actually mentions that aren't they supposed to be kind of like positive or whatever, making funny comments and stuff like that. You could tell this is just a whole different Spider-Man, and he has like a different unique story. He wasn't really bitten. You kind of feel the remorse for him, which is good about this movie because you see what he's gone through and how much he's lost, and then you kind of think, okay, well, he's doing this for the good of everyone, but he takes it too far with Miles, trying to explain to him like why he can't save his dad, which is also a canon moment. So, and that means that like he has to die basically, or else things will go bad, and you can't really expect Miles to kind of go along with it. Like everyone would try and save their loved ones. So we can see both sides, and we could see Spider-Man 2099 side, him not wanting Miles to save his dad because of the repercussions that can happen with that happening. So it does make you feel remorse, but he just kind of takes it too far. He traps Miles, and that's actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie where Spider-Man 2099 traps Miles because he wants to go save his dad, and then he breaks out using his shocking ability, and just that whole scene was just amazing, seeing all those Spider-Mans going after him. And even that one quote, "Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing," that's like that was like probably like one of my favorite scenes in the movie, if not my favorite one. So all that happening, it was just really amazing to see on the screen, and just the animation that's been done with it. And I also want to mention that I like the adjustments they made with how Spider-Man 2099 looks now. Because if you guys didn't know, in the first movie, in the end credits, it shows Spider-Man 2099, but he's more kind of like skinnier and, you know, more leaner, and he just has like a different design on his costume, just a little bit. And they made him more, you know, kind of buffer, more bigger in this movie, kind of showing that he's more, you know, menacing in this movie, and also showing how big he is compared to Miles. And I enjoyed Miguel throughout the whole movie. He was very interesting and a unique character, and I am looking forward to seeing more of him in the future. Now, I also want to mention the Spot, who is actually the villain of the story. And, you know, he comes out in the beginning of the movie. First, I thought he was just kind of like a side villain. And, you know, I never really took him seriously. The Spot is not just a side villain. In this movie, he looks good with this animation. And he actually ends up being a very dangerous villain because he gets like an upgrade and stuff like that. And you can go to different universes, and that was also cool to see him go to other universes. He goes into Venom's universe, where he goes to like that one liquor store where that one lady's at. So that was also one of kind of like the cameos, I guess you can say, where he goes to. So that was really cool to see. Now, in terms of storyline, this movie was really good on that. Now, one thing I do want to mention between this movie and the first one is that when it came to soundtrack, which I love in movies, soundtracks are like one of my favorite part of basically watching a movie, is that I found that in the first Spider-Verse movie, I liked the music a whole lot better than I did in the second movie. I felt that in the first one, there's just more iconic scenes that went with the songs they put in. Like in the first one, we get the song, What's Up Danger, and it's basically Miles becoming Spider-Man and him taking a leap of faith. So, you know, that song is incorporated into the scene, and everybody knows it for that particular scene. And I'm not saying that the second one didn't have good music. I just felt like it was missing those iconic songs that the first one had. Now, the only parts where I was like, it was towards the end of the movie, and it kind of felt like, you know, the movie was wrapping up, but the story was not finished yet. You know, I looked at the time, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, this movie should be almost over. Why does it feel like it's barely beginning? And I was like, just thinking to myself, please don't be a cliffhanger, like not another one. And for those who haven't seen Fast X, this is going to be spoilers. It ended off on a cliffhanger. So I was just thinking to myself, there's no way there's going to be two cliffhanger movies in the same year. And I was just hoping that it wasn't going to be a cliffhanger. But after looking at the time, I was like, it's either going to be a cliffhanger or the final ending scenes with the fight scenes is going to be super rushed. And, you know, nobody wants that. So, you know, you just kind of have to pick your poison. I think it was just much better that it ended off on a cliffhanger so we could see the next movie next year, which is, it's going to come out, I think, in March. It's going to be called Beyond the Spider-Verse. So who knows what we might see in that movie. But now with that being said, let me know what you guys think of the movie. I think this is just a really good movie. Really good animation, good villains, good storyline. There's some, you know, good background between Gwen that we get to see in the beginning of the movie. And, I mean, Miles is just one of the best Spider-Mans that I've ever seen. And, you know, he's a really cool Spider-Man. I mean, he held his own against all those other Spider-Mans. You know, that just kind of shows how powerful he is. So, let me know what you guys think, guys. And it's been Jarmy, and I'll see you guys in the next video.